I'd like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners workshop meeting for September 9, 2020. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lees.
Here.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
So before we have the pledge, I just want to announce follow-up from our last meeting. We have great news to pass on, and that is our township manager's son, Luke, did very well in his surgery. Many of you were here, and we know that you were sending thoughts and prayers, not only to Luke, but also to the entire family. And so good things continue to happen. And Aaron, without your permission, I'm sorry I shared that, but I thought since we did before, I wanted everyone to know the good news.
I appreciate it, and I'm grateful for all of the support and warmth I received from the Hatfield community. It meant a lot to the Bebro family, my wife in particular, so thank you everyone for reaching out. I received so much support from every different organization that we work with, and didn't expect any of it, but made a big difference. My son only punched 2 doctors because of all that support. But all good. Everything's going well, and grateful for the support.
Well, and a little recognition for that good news, why don't you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Public for which God.
All right, is there a motion for approval of tonight's, before we do that, sorry, I need to announce that the board met in executive session tonight to discuss personnel. With that, is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move forward with the agenda before you. Citizens' comments. Are there citizens' comments on agenda items? All right, not seeing any. We're going to move on to our consent items. We only have one. Is there a motion to enter into the record the police report for the month of August? Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Any questions or comments? Again, that's the police report for the month of August. That's moving into the record. With that, I'll call the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. All right, we have a public hearing with regard to liquor license transfer hearing at ShopRite 170 40-Foot Road. Ms. Solicitor, are you leading us in this one?
Yes, I will. A motion's in order to suspend the meeting and open the hearing.
There a motion on the floor made to suspend the meeting and open the hearing? By Commissioner Andrews.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved, and we are in the hearing.
Okay, so we are having this hearing at the request of KTM Roman numeral 2 Supermarkets LLC. It's the ShopRite shopping center at 170 40-Foot Road. Dave Berger is here. He's at the podium. He's the attorney representing the applicant. We're required to have these hearings when liquor licenses are transferred from outside of our municipality into the municipality. This was properly advertised twice in the newspaper. There's really not much of a burden for Mr. Berger other than we have the hearing and elicit comments from the public. So I'll turn it over to him to describe what the plans are.
Yes, so as she described, it's an intermunicipal transfer of the license. The purposes of it is to add to, actually, sorry, I'll back up. So the place where the property is going to be transferred the license, it's in that commercial center where the Hatfield meets are. I believe that there is also an Applebee's and other retail establishments. So the purposes of transferring the license is to add more convenience to the ShopRite that is there in the shopping center. They're proposing to offer beer and wine sales to the currently existing supermarket. More specifically, they would sell in-demand beers, seltzer, and wine at the location. Upon initial approval, they can deal with only beer and the seltzers first, and then selling of the wine would require a second wine expanded permit, which they anticipate that they would be obtaining shortly after approval of the transfer. The reason for doing this intermunicipal request is we've attempted to find other licenses outside of the township. Unfortunately, there is only one license in safekeeping. That happens to be another license that's actually getting transferred out of the township. So in reality, this is net zero to the township. You're going to have one restaurant license going out and one restaurant license coming in. With regards to active restaurant licenses, there are only 8 active restaurant licenses as it is. There is no plans for significant construction to the property. What they would probably be doing is there's already a cafe inside allowing for the prepared foods. There would just be an adjustment to that interior cafe to add the alcohol sales. With regards to the current hours of operation, they're currently open 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Sunday. The LCB regulations allow alcohol to be sold during those same times with the exception of Sunday, which wouldn't allow alcohol sales to begin until 9 a.m. So the hours for alcohol sales would be 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday with Sunday sales between 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. With regards to security, there is significant security with cameras not only inside but outside of the property. At least a total of 50 cameras. There is a separate register where the alcohol sales would take place. There is actually going to be a camera that's specifically recording any and all transactions that occur from that register for the sales of alcohol, and also the POS system that ShopRite uses currently for using tobacco as an example. When they go and sell any kind of tobacco products, they are required to check ID and enter the birth date of anyone who's purchasing those products. They would be doing the same thing for alcohol sales. So in effect, they would be carding virtually everyone who is purchasing alcohol at that location. With regards to on-premises consumption, they have to somewhat allow on-premises consumption, but they are permitted to restrict it. So they would probably be restricting on-premises consumption should people want to have a drink with their prepared foods at the table to a 1-drink maximum. They don't want to have anyone imbibing multiple drinks, going out and getting drunk. It's more dram shop and insurance liabilities. Other than that, I'm able to take any questions from the board that they may have.
So will it be the employees of ShopRite who will be making the sales, or is it a third party that's going to be administering that portion of the facility?
No, the same operators of ShopRite will be doing the alcohol sales. There's not going to be a third-party management company.
And so then I assume that they have internal obligations, internal restrictions on who will be able to work the cashier over at that section based on age.
Well, so correct. So you can't have anyone under 18 selling alcohol from a cash register. There is also a requirement from the LCB that each be RAMP certified. So it's RAMP stands for Responsible Alcohol Management Training. Any server has to take that training, and any owner manager also needs to take that training. So anyone who would be operating that register would have to be RAMP trained.
And is there, and maybe you said this and I missed this, is there food that's going to be served there, or no? This is just, is this?
So there is, the requirement for a restaurant is that they have to have food available for 30 people, seating for 30, and 400 square feet of space. The prepared food that's on premises is the food that's offered and available. So the prepared food that they have within the ShopRite is the food that would be a part of that restaurant service.
They're going to be able to fit rows of wine and beer in that market area and still be able to keep room for 30 people to sit and eat?
You can fit, so for 30 people for sitting, it's a 12 by 18 space. So all you need to provide for a seat is a 12 by 18 space. There's going to be enough for the 12 by 18, but let alone it's an LCB requirement that they have to adhere to. So if their interior design currently is not sufficient to support that, the design will be changed to make sure that there is enough seating for 30 people within that licensed area.
And you might have said this, but I'm double checking. There'll be a limitation on the amount of alcohol that an individual can go in and purchase and leave with, right?
The LCB requires that for a takeout sales, you can take out no more than what amounts to a 12-pack of beer. So in any one purchase, you can't buy more than a 12-pack.
And you said 18 or 18 and over?
Correct. You mean the sales of the POS register?
Right.
Yes. So you can't have somebody under the age of 18 selling alcohol. So that anyone who operates that register would need to be 18 and over.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Now, if there's anyone in the audience that has any questions or comments, this would be the time. Okay, I see no hands. It would be appropriate for you to close the hearing, go back into the meeting, and there'll be a resolution for you to consider at our next meeting 2 weeks from today.
All right, is there a motion to end the hearing and go back into the workshop meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Any questions or comments? With that, I'll call a question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved, and we are back into the workshop meeting. Thank you for coming this evening, and as our solicitor explained, you'll be on our agenda 2 weeks from now.
Sure, thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, committee reports. Planning and Zoning Committee, Vice President Rogers.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
All right, moving right along to Public Works, Commissioner Lees.
Thank you, Mr. President. The agenda packet has the latest payment request for the Cowpath or Villa Road project for $403,935.69. This will be on the regular meeting for consideration by the board. The project continues to move along, and Aaron will give an update on the latest details on the detour and the recent delay during his report. The 2020 paving program is officially halfway completed. The following roads were paved within the last few weeks: Independence Way, Needham Circle, Downing Drive, Chelsea Court, Stoneham Circle, Roxbury Road, and Quincy Court. The remaining roads will be paved once the North Penn Water Authority finishes its current project. Those roads are Apple Blossom Drive, Brighton Drive, Buckthorn Drive, Grapevine, Sourwood Drive, Penfield Drive, and Pine Tree Drive. The board did not defer any of the roadway paving projects this year, and we plan on budgeting the same amount for paving next year. This is one of the most fundamental services provided by local government, and we take a lot of pride in the condition of the roads in Hatfield Township. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know, we have Aaron, is it a 15-year plan for all of our roads?
Yes.
It's a rolling 15-year plan for all of our roads, so that, if you don't hear your road for a few years, it's because you're somewhere in that standard rotation. And so there's equity for all the different streets throughout the entire township that are township roads. Obviously, we do not pave state roads. All right, Parks and Recreation Committee, Commissioner Zimmerman.
Got a full slate of activities going on, and if you missed something, check the website or check the Facebook page. Tai Chi is going to be in September on Thursdays. It already started, 9:03 to 9:24 in the morning, 9 a.m. to 9:45. It's an outdoor activity here at School Road Park. $50 for residents, $60 for non. Zumba will also be in September on Sundays, starting on the 13th. Outdoors, 9 to 10 a.m. $40 residents, $50 non-residents. Yoga will start in October on Thursdays. This will be in the evening, 7 to 7:45 here in the administration building. Person, but you'll have limited space, and there will be a virtual option available. $40 residents, $50 non-residents. We're continuing with our American Girl Craft and History program. The featured girl for this month is Molly McIntyre. Registration includes a craft kit, an activity, and a video. And you can register up your kit here at the administration building on September 23rd. $5 registration fee. Story Time, September edition. Featured book for September is A Very Frustrated Monster by Andy Green. Registration is $5, includes the storybook and 2 craft kits. And children can read the story and complete the crafts individually or do it as a family. And then you'll email pictures of the family reading and completing your crafts by September 30th to be included in our September Storytime series post. And you can pick up your books and your kits at the Township building. Trivia night. Take a break from the chaos back to school, grab the family, and participate in our September Trivia Night, Tuesday, September 22nd, so it'll be here before we know it. Register your team, and it's going to be via Zoom or Kahoot, and prize. Park Puzzles. Great job to everyone who participated in the Park Yahtzee and the Park Trivial Pursuit. Throughout the month of August, we're going to have 2 new Park Puzzles coming in September. Follow the Township on Facebook for details and a chance to win a prize. Events, we're still going to try to do the Dash and Splash, but it'll be virtual. So congrats to all the virtual Dash and Splash 5K runners that already completed their 3.1 miles throughout the month of August. Check out our photos of the runners on Facebook, and look for winners of our 2020 virtual race superlatives to be announced on September 18th. Try to do a All Earth Day event on Saturday, September 19th, from 8 to 12. Lines will close at 11:30. Safety purposes, please remain in your vehicle. Staff will verify your ID and unload your items. Wear a mask and adhere to all Pennsylvania and CDC health and safety guidelines. And there'll be 2 collection sites at the Public Works Complex for yard waste, tree branches, tires, air conditioners, appliances, and batteries. And Works for household hazardous waste, oils, electronics, and batteries. And again, site.
All right. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and we still have lots going on, so thank you. That's great at report. All right, next is public safety. A few updates. Some updates regarding some good things that happened with our police department. Chief Tierney recently hired a consultant, Laura Lomax, from Intercultural Works to provide inclusivity training for the leadership with the police department. The township will also be working with Laura to provide training to the pool staff next spring. Chief Tierney met Laura during his involvement with the local NAACP chapter, and we recognize and appreciate the diverse community we serve, and we're always looking for ways to gain insight and reflect on how we can do things better. So, Chief, that's a great connection that you made, and thank you for that. Our 4 police corporals just attended a leadership training course through the FBI. I know that's always exciting for them, and it's a great opportunity for them to expand to get additional training. And last, as we look at next year's budget, the commissioners we're looking to increase funding for training to make sure the Hatfield Police continues to be an industry leader when it comes to community policing. So that'll be on one of our agenda items, not agenda, but a part of our considerations when we go through our budget next year. All right, that's it for Public Safety. Finance Committee, Commissioner Andrus.
Thank you. It's hard to believe, but Labor Day is behind us. It's time to crank the 21 budget process into full gear. Aaron and Dave, the Township Finance Director, will be meeting department heads next week to review this year's expenses and discuss next year's projects. That information will be relayed to the Finance Committee, and then there will be a public goals and budget workshop on October 21st, which is the 3rd Wednesday, 6 p.m. in this room. We'll spend the night reviewing the goals from this year and then trying to accurately predict the financial ramifications from the COVID-19 moving forward. Thanks to this board and the township staff, the township has a reserve fund which was established 7 years ago, and a healthy fund balance to give us some flexibility to get through what comes our way without adjusting the tax level. One of the other items regarding 2020 expenses, if you recall, we had delayed or deferred some projects. So we initially budgeted 2 police vehicles for this year. At the onset of the pandemic, we paused the purchase. Now that we have a little better idea of our financial position, we're authorized Chief Tierney to buy 1 of those 2 vehicles this year. Voice will be on the agenda in 2 weeks for the board.
Great. Thank you. We're going to move on to our Township Manager's Report. Aaron.
Thank you, Mr. President. Most of you may have noticed if you've driven the Cowpath or Villa corridor recently that the activity has stopped as of this week. Late last week, the contractor, while doing some excavating, noticed a pipe that was not marked when you initially do the PA1 call before a project. Noticed the pipe wasn't marked. We're somewhat concerned, so they looked into it, and it was owned by Enbridge, which is the company that a lot of people locally knows as the Texas Eastern line that runs through our entire town and comes actually from Texas. Thankfully, the pipe itself was an abandoned pipe without gas in it. However, the contractors were unable to continue moving. We had to coordinate with Enbridge, and thankfully we have on the schedule for Friday. They will be out on the site, and actually our township staff will be doing the excavating work. Enbridge wanted to do it, they wanted to do it themselves as far as capping the lines and then prepping it so the work can continue. So that will be most likely a one-day job on Friday, and you'll see activity back hopefully early next week. So the detour that was going to go into place last Tuesday, yesterday, did not take place yet, so I think they covered the signs, but the detour will then be in effect once work will commence, whether it's next week or will the detour be the following week. We're not exactly sure, but it will still be, I understand the time frame is somewhat frustrating for many, but we hope that it will be completed much before that window that was given, the 2-month window for the detour. But that was the reason why it didn't happen this week, but it will be happening shortly, and hopefully we'll still be moving this project along swiftly. So we're getting there.
All right.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay. Solicitor's report. It's good to hear from your lawyer. And citizens' comments.
How you guys all doing? George Landis and family, 1704 Cuffle Road. We have a major problem. We have a neighbor who likes to have parties, loud parties. 1551 Apple Blossom Drive. We're not talking music, we're talking DJ music blowing out. I can't even, it's serious because these guys are with me. Just, you know, but that's on my deck. I have video I've taken from inside our house that I think I've shared with Tom. I've shared stuff with Aaron. What blows me away is you got an ordinance. It says, a noise ordinance. Any sound that annoys or disturbs a reasonable person with normal sensitivities, or any sound that injures or endangers the comfort, repose, health, hearing, peace, or safety of any other persons. General prohibitions. It shall be unlawful for any person to cause or to permit to occur any noise disturbance in Hatfield Township. Wow. Then we read down specific prohibitions. Music or similar sounds which emanate from social gatherings which can be heard beyond the boundaries of the property on which the event is occurring after 10 p.m. You're kidding me. This stuff goes on till 10 p.m. It starts at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. I call the police. You guys aren't going to believe this response, and I love the police. You guys they do an awesome job. And I have, officers stated, police can't do anything unless it's after 10 p.m. I said, so, you mean I can set up a stereo and I can blast them back with music and that would be okay? Yes, it would be okay. I don't want to do that. I want it to stop. I want some kind of an ordinance or something that stops this. This isn't not healthy. This was 2 weeks ago. This that I just showed you was Sunday, August 30th. I know earlier in the day I contacted Tom. I called the police. I called the police twice. We're talking about parties that have 100 people, 150 people. I don't even know how that's legal.
That's not either.
These people have, right now, they've got a porta potty in the front yard.
Yeah, George, to add,
And
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Where was I? Yeah, they taunt us now. Now they're taunting us. Now they're getting on there and going, hey, we've got till 10 o'clock, blasting it. We got home, we were away this Saturday. We got home about 9 o'clock at night. This past Saturday, and another party was just finishing. I have people that work for me that I have a guy that lives up on Farview, right behind Rosenberger's Dairy. He comes in today, he goes, what were you, or on Monday or Tuesday, he says, what were you doing down there? I could hear music up at my house.
When was this? The second one?
Saturday.
This last Saturday?
this past Saturday. So it's just about every week in a row we're having these parties with this kind of nonsense.
Same
and-
house? Same house?
Same house. And I can't do anything about it.
Well, we can. And so to add to that, we also learned, I think you and I learned at or around the day as it was breaking up, that this is a property, there may be a code enforcement issue that we can also, that is also implicated here in the sense that not only do you have to have a permit, what is it, over 50 people in order to have a group of greater than 50 people, but we learned that the house was busing people in.
They were bussing them in from, and they've bussed them in before. They've had, the one party they had, they filled the neighborhood with cars. They had people out with flashlights directing people in.
So we are currently under the impression that they are renting their house out for these parties, that it is not family and friends.
Now, the woman that owns it is on Facebook showing videos of the parties going on.
And so this is she's now using her house as a party rental location. And so like I said, that implicates an additional ordinance that we have, which is actually I don't want to say it's easier, but it's easier from an objective standpoint to identify the fact that, you can only have so many people and you're not permitted it's not a permitted use. The struggle that I know that you had that evening is the implementation of our noise ordinance. For those of you who don't know this, probably about 10, maybe it wasn't 10 years ago.
Longer.
Longer?
13, I think you changed it.
13 years ago?
No,
Is that what it was?
2013, I thought I saw you changed it.
We used to have like a decibel reader, and that was remarkably unworkable for the police, not only because it had to be calibrated, and then people challenged it, and you'd have hearings on whether it was really over a certain level. And so what we did, and it was just at or around the time, now that I think about it, is when Larry and I came on the board, is we changed it to this provision in particular, like George just said. It talks about music that emanates from a social gathering beyond 10 p.m. So the language itself, it actually talks about anything that could be heard beyond the boundaries of the property from which it's emanating from, which is fairly strict, if you say, in a certain way, standard, because I think anyone would say that if they have a simple barbecue, the next door neighbor can hear some music. So the purpose of creating the ordinance the way that we did was to give the police the authority, the ability to implement in a manner that didn't handcuff them as much as the decibel reading, but clearly you're raising an issue. Now, I'd like to think that this is a singular location. No one else has raised the issue, but clearly you have a bad offender in the neighborhood. It's in my ward, so I didn't know there was a second night, by the way.
Well, it happens just about every weekend. We go away just about every weekend. We're not home most weekends. We leave Friday, come home Sunday. But there's, just happened the weekend of the August 30th, we were home. September 12th, we came home. People text me, I know a lot of people around there. People were texting me all the time, like, what are you doing? I don't know, I'm not home. So, there's stuff going on that we're not even experiencing, luckily.
Right. Just
but-
as a practical matter, if you get it, I only thought it was the one night. If you get any information about other nights, let me know, and obviously Chief will know, and we'll share that with Aaron as well. Clearly, this is a pattern and a practice from this house, and we're going to deal with it in a manner that makes sense for them, because what they're doing is quite a bit different than the rest of us holding a barbecue in our backyard.
So how are we going to deal with this noise blasting in my backyard next time it happens and I call the police?
Well, it's a good question.
At 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock in the morning, and I know I've got 12 hours to go yet, or go somewhere else.
Yep, it's a real good question. I'm not going to try and speak for the other commissioners. I looked at the ordinance, I discussed it with Chief and Aaron. We emailed about it as well, to make sure that we were, me and Aaron were mostly familiar with it. And so I'll tell you from my perspective, I don't think it's necessary to fix this problem to change the ordinance, because the ordinance for a decade or more has served us well. I think this is a very specific problem that needs a specific fix, and I don't think that this specific fix comes from this ordinance. I am particularly interested in the misuse, the misuse of the house, proper use of the house as a rental party location, and I intend to continue that discussion because, again, I also thought this was a one-time incident, thinking, okay, someone had a blowout, they rented out their house for a couple of $1,000s, and this isn't going to happen again because they got the police that showed up 3 different times at your behest and mine. And now you've just described, like I said, a pattern in practice that I want to have a specific remedy for that location.
I have neighbors that have parties. I have neighbors that play their music loud when they're having their parties. I'm okay with that. We all do it.
Right.
So over the top.
Yep. So
But I do appreciate you. I appreciate Aaron, the police chief. The police, what you're doing, but for us, it doesn't even feel like it's still going on.
Yep. So I'm happy to continue the conversation with you because now that we know it's, like I said, a pattern in practice, not that I want it to happen again, but I'm almost tempted that if it happens again, then we have a game plan, we're prepared, we know what we would do.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, guys. You guys all have a good night.
Thank you. George, can you stick around afterwards? Sure. Okay. All right, any other citizens' comments? No? All right, well, we had a little bit of a light agenda this evening. I think usually what that means is that the next meeting becomes a longer meeting. So be prepared, settle in for the next one, folks. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus,
Second.
second by Commissioner Zimmerman. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.